Welcome to Daxue Talks, a show powered by Daxue Consulting, a China-based strategic market research company founded in 2010.
I'm Julian. I'm the CEO of Genius Insight. We are the leader here in Asia regarding LinkedIn services. So we help our clients to get more leads and more clients through LinkedIn. And besides that, with Thomas, we also run a community here in Shanghai called LinkedIn Local Shanghai.
And I am Tamar Hella. Thank you so much for having us. I am the COO of our agency, Genius Insight. So Julian and I are business partners. I founded the chapter of LinkedIn Local Shanghai. And if anyone's not familiar with what LinkedIn Local is, it is one of the largest professional networks globally centered around LinkedIn. And it's become so large that LinkedIn started governing us last year as volunteers. So in our community, we have about 3,000 members in Shanghai. However, globally, it's in over 100 countries and 1,100 cities. So it's quite an important network globally, and it's been amazing to see how it's grown in the past 3 years.
LinkedIn is the only Western social media allowed in China. In terms of numbers, how large is the LinkedIn China community?
Okay, so what we do know and what we can share, because we do know a few internal things that have been shared with us from LinkedIn APAC, but we can't share them. But what we do know is that there's just over 56 million registered users in China. Now, as far as the numbers for active users and posts and all that, that's all internal. And that has, some things have been shared with us, some things haven't. And either way, like I said, we can't disclose that. However, we do know that the goals of especially LinkedIn China are kind of twofold. So one is to get more active users, and that means that they're really educating users here through different things. They do lots of different things like demos, and they'll come do like their products. A really interesting initiative that LinkedIn China did this year, which was really, really touching actually, especially those who were in Wuhan and did so many, they lost a lot of opportunities, especially college students, right, this year. So what LinkedIn China did was they kind of enacted this coaching feature, and they had volunteers and people who love using LinkedIn, as well as the LinkedIn staff here. And they really went to go career coach these college students and especially help them use LinkedIn. So I appreciate that because it's really active as far as educating LinkedIn users. And then the other side is really getting Chinese users, Chinese companies who want to expand globally to understand how to prospect better, as Julian just touched on. You know, you must prospect online nowadays. And also I think to kind of be a little bit more cultural sensitive when they're reaching out to different countries and multinational companies. Because for example, you know, here in China, it's so easy to prospect because people aren't really suspicious, or you can add them on WeChat right away. It's not a big deal. But if you're prospecting in the West, especially depending on the country that you're prospecting to, people might be really suspicious. So there is kind of a bit of sensitivity knowledge that LinkedIn China is really going to be teaching their users.
What are the demographics of LinkedIn users in China?
Active user in China is very interesting to see that obviously it's in the top cities like Beijing, like Shanghai, or Guangzhou. Guangzhou is very active because obviously there is a lot of trading. And again, LinkedIn position itself in China in the context that they want to help the Chinese to make more business outside of China. So this is really the value proposition that LinkedIn offers to try to convince new businesses to go and use better the platform. So definitely, if you compare to other platform, LinkedIn in China, and even if we compare LinkedIn to other countries, the active user of LinkedIn in China are people in top position. I mean, is not like an intermediate position. It's really high level executive. Why? Because mainly these people speak English, so meaning like these people are very well educated. Regarding the way they use LinkedIn, there is still an education about that. But what I can say, it's like definitely, or even inside our community, the number of Chinese went from 20% to 40%. So it's a huge growth, and we see a big interest for Chinese people in using LinkedIn. And again, for many reasons, because the business in China internally is not enough, and because LinkedIn, obviously, this is the most easiest way to make business. Giving you an example, like okay, during the pandemic, people were in trade and wanted, let's say, to send medical devices. What did they do? They begin to post massively, okay, I have this in stock. And yeah, it began really for these people to create a lot of visibility, because obviously the buyers outside, let's say in France or in the US, begin to interact with that. And because obviously the algorithm of LinkedIn really take in consideration the number of comments that you have. So yeah, the last few months, definitely, I would say, yeah, there are more and more Chinese active users. And anyway, according to the forecast, right now the first country in terms of user, it's the US, 160 million. But according to the forecast, by 1 year or 1 year and a half, it's going to be the Chinese. I mean, China is already the third country, not far away from India. India has right now 60 million users. So you see, like, it's pretty interesting. So yeah, it's just going to grow, definitely. And for the active user, again, I would say, if we talk again more about the demographic and the age, I would say the average is more than 30 years old. We are, again, in a public more mature. We are not like on doing TikTok. I mean, yeah, this is definitely a platform where people here in China have more than 30 years old, yeah.
Is there a Chinese platform equivalent of LinkedIn?
I know in 2018, TechCrunch was reporting a platform called MyMy. I haven't really heard of it recently. Like, they got funding of I think 200 million or something like that. So that was interesting, and they were set to rival LinkedIn. But I know that there's some other like more job search platforms that are quite popular. There's another one that's called like Boss, and it integrates video interviewing right away as well. But again, I think LinkedIn China in the past, especially year, has done a really great job of kind of rising above that. And that's also too why we as a community, LinkedIn Local, we wanted to start collaborating with them and supporting each other. We met with one of the head marketing people from Beijing last year, and we're asking, like, what are your goals? What are your targets? What are your KPIs in the next coming 12 months? How can we help? And I think, again, like, it just goes back to, if LinkedIn can continue to do a really good job here of educating users and then really pushing their products. Like, they need to show people more and more how to use their products because people are still clueless about it. Then I think they're not even going to really have a big competition. And as you know, it's interesting. I mean, China's definitely looking to create a self-sustaining internal economy because of the pandemic. So we're going to see how that plays out with social media platforms that are professional, and how the economy will react to that, how people start using LinkedIn maybe in a different way here, maybe more internal or domestic networking. However, I still think there's going to be a lot of companies here who are also looking to expand globally, maybe not to, let's say, like the US, but they have a very strong trade with Australia. And there's so many users in Australia. So Chinese users here would be really smart to keep using LinkedIn. and really be creating those the network, a strong network, and increasing their trade and their cooperation with countries like Australia, who they have a good relationship with already.
Any questions? We will find an expert to answer them. Drop your questions in the comments or send us an email, dx@daxueconsulting.com.